Okay, good morning and welcome to Soul Soup this morning. So glad you could be with us this morning as we just share a little bit of ideas that hopefully can bring some food to your soul. Inspiration is like food. We need to keep reminding ourselves on a regular basis, daily inspiration, I say, in order to keep our perceptions and our viewpoints in the higher realms. So I'm a big believer in daily inspiration and daily turning our attention to something more positive and supportive and a higher viewpoint, a higher spiritual viewpoint, a higher personal viewpoint. So this morning we are looking at the idea of really inner secrets or inner skills that create more outer success, outer results in our life. And what are the inner skills that we can use to be able to facilitate greater happiness, peace, success, and whatever that means to us. And always working from the inside out, that is working on our internal life, our ability to go into our heart, our ability to go beyond the busy, crazy mind and to access more of our soul, our higher self. And so anyway, I'm excited this morning, starting from, I did a talk this week on at a real estate office on showing up and standing out, and it came out of a dear friend of mine who's very, very successful in real estate, was sharing some ideas of what he considered to be his secret to success, and it was basically just show up and stand out by doing things, the consistent right things, and doing them consistently. And over a period of time, you actually stand out because a lot of people just aren't. And so I thought about that as far as really our ability to show up consistently in spiritual practice, our ability to show up in our soul, in our happiness, in a place of peace, our ability to master, maybe not even master, but practice spiritual principles and personal principles and practices so that we show up. And it is different in this world to show up as somebody that can be a light bearer, someone that can bring a positive viewpoint, someone that can bring a presence of peace and harmony to a chaotic environment. We do stand out, and it's a new way of standing out. In the old way, we stood out by, aggression and our ego, and I got to be better than everybody else. But what if we could start standing out now from another way, that our light begins to be shine, or our depth of presence is so strong that it influences like it influences like a ripple to everyone that we touch. So we're going to look at that and do a process so that when we're done today, that we'll go into a meditative process to be able to put the principles that I'm going to talk about to work and integrate the parts of us so that we can experience that. So I want to start off with a story, and I want you to imagine that you are like a castle. Okay, a big castle, a magnificent castle with long hallways and thousands of rooms, and every room in your castle is perfect. Every room has a magical special gift. Each room represents a different aspect of yourself, and it's an important part of the whole castle. Every room is an important part. Now, as a child, you explored all of your castle. As a child, you explored every single room, and you didn't have any shame or any judgment about any part of your castle. It was perfect. You fearlessly searched every room for its jewels and its mystery. You embraced every room, whether it was a closet or a bedroom or a bathroom or a cellar. Every room was unique, and you loved it. And your castle was full of light and awe and wonder. And then one day somebody came in and they said, looked at your castle and they told you, actually, that room is not a good room. It surely didn't belong in your castle. They suggested if you want to have a perfect castle, you should close the door and lock that room. Well, you wanted love and acceptance, and so you quickly closed off that room. As time went by, more and more people came into your castle. They all gave you their opinion, which of the rooms they liked, which of the rooms they didn't like, and slowly you shut one door after another. Your marvelous rooms were being closed off and taken out of the light and put into the dark, and a cycle had begun. And from that time on, you closed more and more of the doors for all kinds of reasons. You closed doors because you were afraid, or you closed doors because you thought, that's too much, that's too bold. You closed doors because maybe it was too conservative, and maybe you closed doors because they were too wild. You closed doors because you saw other castles didn't have rooms like that. You closed doors because your religious leaders told you that those doors should never be opened. You closed any doors that didn't fit into society's standards or your own ideas. And eventually the days passed and your castle was not really being used. You had shut off so many of those doors. You no longer cared for each of the doors and each of the rooms with the same level of love and admiration. Rooms that once you were proud of, you began to will them to disappear, and you tried to figure out ways to get rid of those rooms, actually. And now that you'd shut the door to whatever room you didn't like, time went by, and pretty soon you just actually forgot you had those rooms. And at first you didn't realize what you were doing. It just was a habit. With everyone giving you different messages about your wonderful castle and what it should look like, it became easier to listen to them instead of to yourself, and to trust your own inner voice. The inner voice that loved your whole castle. And actually shutting off those rooms actually started to make you feel safe. And soon you began to find yourself living in just very few small rooms in your castle. And you learned how to shut out life and become comfortable with it. And many of us locked away so many rooms, we forgot wherever a castle, and we thought maybe we were just a 2-room house. So that starts to show how our perceptions have started to perceive life in a way. We've controlled it, shut off so many parts of us so that we could be safe and accepted. But on the spiritual journey and on the journey of awakening, it's really the journey of changing perception, so that those old perceptions of deficiency and not enough can begin to change. So today we're going to look at 2 perceptions that we have and we can develop to be able to experience the ability to live in more of our rooms in our castle. And the more we can live in more of the rooms of the castle, the more we can show up in our life, and we can stand out, and we can be of service and contribution. We can't be of service and contribution in the world if we're only using and living as a 2-room castle. So we need to integrate and bring back and recognize all those places that are there so that we can be an instrument of more light and love in the world. Would that be all right? Yes. All right. So let's look at this. So today I was watching, not today, but this week I was watching a TED Talk. And I'm sorry, I can't remember the name of the guy that was speaking, but he said something that was really profound. He was talking about the brain, and he was talking about how the brain is trained to see, that the brain sees what it's been programmed to see. And so they showed examples of, excuse me, they showed examples of how someone is shown a certain blue over and over and over, and then they're shown another color, but they don't actually see that color. They still see the same blue. And they showed other examples of how they show the brain, or show you, the person using their brain, a certain thing over and over and over, and then they change it, but the person doesn't see the change because the brain sees what it's been programmed to see. And the whole thing was beginning to talk about this idea that, are we really experiencing life by what's actually around us, or are we experiencing what's around us from what's within us? And that in this organic physical body, in this organic brain, science is really showing us that our reality is based upon our programming, and that our repetitive perception, what we see again and again, determines what we see in the outer world. And so they called it repetition of perception, that we experience life through the repetition of perception that we have been trained to have. So we see that, we see that in the story of the castle, the repetition of perception. So we learn and we're trained to shut off all these parts of us so that we feel safe, because we created a perception where we feel safe. So in our outer world, we see and experience life based upon our perceptions, and it's really difficult to go out and have a new experience. Now, when we want to experience greater ability to show up in a new way, and to be more of a contribution, and to be more successful in our life, but we've been having a repetition of perception of smallness and fear and trying to keep safe, there's a disconnect. There's a disconnect there. So I want us to just, the first step in all transformation is first seeing. So I want us to look at two ways, two perceptions that we have. And one is being perception, and one is deficiency perception. All right, so being perception and deficiency perception. Let me talk about what that is. So at any moment, when we are in being perception, that means we experience life from the non-judgmental observer. To keep it more simple, we can just experience what's in front of us without having to categorize it and judge it. That we can be present in the moment, present in experiencing what's in front of us. And we all know that's more difficult than we imagine it should be, really. Because of the mind, and because of the running of perceptions and the running of programs and the constant judgment. And so the other perception that everybody has is the deficiency perception. That means we perceive life from a place of deficiency. And when we perceive life from a place of deficiency, our radar's constantly looking outside of ourselves with, I need something, I'm afraid, I don't have, I need, and we perceive life from, I'm deficient and somebody needs to save me, fix me, help me, give to me, blah, 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 blah. So let's look at those two different perceptions, because the idea is that we want to be able to, in order to be more at peace, in order to experience more rooms in the castle, we want to be able to have more ability to be in this being perception. The ability to be in the present moment. The ability to experience people simply for who they are. So let's look at objects, subject objects. So let's look at an orange, for example. So from a being perspective, we are able to experience something. So in order to go into being perspective, and let's do that right now, in order to go into being perspective, we need to get present, okay? So get present is to take a breath. That's right. Just take a breath and actually feel the air move in your lungs. Feel the air move through your nostrils. Look around wherever you are right now and just be in this moment, fully present in this moment. Just be present. We can get present. We can kind of disconnect the deficiency mind in order to simply observe without judgment. So a being perception is a perception without judgment. In other words, we just experience what's there without having to classify it and clarify it and compare it and define it and all the things that the mind wants to do. So if we take that orange, when we hold that orange and we look at that orange, when we look at the orange from being perspective, we just experience the orange. We just experience it. It's not right, it's not wrong. We don't need to say it's too big, it's too little. I don't know. It's just an orange. We can hold it in our hand, we can look at it, we can smell it, we can be curious about what it is and how it smells. It's just an orange. When we look at it from a deficiency deficiency perception. So imagine that you're starving. You're deficient in food. You're deficient in food. And when you look at that orange, you are not looking at that orange with any kind of anything except for, I want it. I want to eat it. I want to bring it in right now. If we look at it if we're in the orange business and we come from a deficiency perspective that says there's not enough oranges, my prices aren't high for oranges, I've got to sell more oranges, we might look at that orange from another perspective, from a deficiency perception, and we may not even, experience that orange. The being perspective is able to experience what's in front of us. And the deficiency perception and perspective is always looking at everything as what it can do for us. So how does that relate to life? Let's look at people, because we're in relationship with people, strangers, workplace. Now imagine a workplace and imagine a community of people working together and accomplishing, skills and everything like that. And imagine if you could bring presence, your presence perspective, being perspective. So bringing your being perspective, then you can experience other people for who they are. You can just experience them without the mind constantly judging them. Are they of value to you? Or are they not of value to you? Are they safe? Are they not safe? Are they going to attack you? Are they not going to attack you? Are they trying to get your job? Are they trying to steal your ideas? Because deficiency perception is constantly looking at who's the enemy and what are they going to take from me, or what can I get from them? And we cannot bring that place of openness and the big castle and the authentic expression when we're coming from deficiency perception, right? So the being perception is able to be present, experience who they are, experience yourself in their presence, experience your emotions, experience your creativity, experience everything that comes in and out of you, experience your own reality, and allow someone else the ability to have their own reality. Now, how much better do you think all relationships will be if we have the capacity? It's not that you won't go into deficiency perception, but if we have the capacity to keep coming back to being perception, that I'm right here, that I'm present, that I'm awake, that I'm aware. Usually when we're in some sort of triggered emotional state, it's because that deficiency perception has been triggered. Some need is not being met. We're afraid, or we're insecure, or we're not getting what we think we need. And we can always, we can always heal that by coming back to this being perspective. I allow everyone the ability to be who they are. And right now, I'm actually at source for my own safety, my own love, my own money, my own supply, my own support, that it is right here within me. I'm connected to a safe and wonderful universe that is provisional. From being perception, we develop more and more the perception of the more than enough, the abundance, the sufficiency, the support, supply, the love. So when we're looking at repetition of perception, and we notice, and I think we all can notice, this is the human condition, deficiency perception. We can notice it in ourselves. I certainly notice it in myself. We can notice being perception as well. We know when we're able to just become present. We notice when we're able to just feel the breath and feel the peace and just come back to this moment. We're able to quiet down that busy mind and just come back to this moment and experience being perspective. And when we do that, from that place of being perception, now we can look out and see people, things, experiences, challenges, problems from a different viewpoint. We can observe them without judging them. We can see what's happening without having to be spinning in our mind. We can see, we can be present and have that being perspective. Now the thing is that I think we know and get that a change of perception automatically changes the world we live in. And so knowing that, do we want to live in a world, let's take it individually, first of all, do we want to live in a world, in the kind of world that we experience from being perspective? That means all is well. Solutions are there. We can experience loved ones around us. We can experience supply and support. We can experience giving and contribution and the confidence to access different parts of our room in our castle in order to serve and give and show up. Do we want to do that, or do we want to continue a perception of a deficiency perception where we're constantly looking out of the programming of the brain, looking for who can fill my perception, my deficiencies? Who's going to say the right thing? Who's going to give it to me? Who's going to open this door? Who's going to do this? Who's going to love me? Who's going to give me this so that I don't feel so deficient? And again, no one external can ever give us that. We have to always learn over again to come back. And so the inner skills and the inner practice is to come back into the present moment, is to come back into beingness, is to come back to be able to listen, to be able to see, to be connected, to be aware. When we're that way, we're able to be kind, compassionate. We're able to see other viewpoints. We're able to bring our authentic expression into the world. Rumi has a quote I want to share it with you. The great Sufi mystic Rumi says, "You were born with potential. You were born with goodness and truth. You were born with ideals and dreams. You were born with greatness. You were born with wings. You are not meant for crawling, so don't. You have wings. Learn to use them and fly. Learn to use them and fly. And that's realizing that all those houses, all those rooms in the castle, we were meant to live in them. And we only closed them up because of poor programming, which created poor perceptions, which substantiated those programs. And now we are learning new programs. And so we are learning to be present. We are learning to be right here. And so we're going to go into a process to, let's open up some of those doors, should we, of the castle, and reclaim a lot of those parts that we have closed off. And let's practice beingness and presence. Would that be all right? Good. So let's find the space for you to relax. That's right. Sometimes it's helpful to go into a relaxation a little faster is to look upward, even with your eyes open. It's like you roll your eyeballs up in your head, like you're looking up here or way up here. So it's like looking up and then finding a spot on the ceiling or wherever, just looking upward and finding a spot and just looking at it. And when we roll our eyes up like that, it starts to activate different brain waves. It starts to relax, that you can move into a deeper state of relaxation very easily. And then, of course, after a minute or so, your eyes start to blink. And maybe they blink a few times until finally you want to close your eyes. That's right. We want to move into being presence just easily right now. And one of the ways to start to do that is to just bring your attention to your breath. So meditation and just mindfulness is a practice of attention. It is a practice of learning to direct attention to one point. It trains us really to direct attention. So direct your attention right there to the tip of the nose. Right to the tip of the nose, and become so aware of the breath as it passes through your nostrils. That's right. Bringing all attention right there, right to the nostrils, just breathing. Fully breathing. Being present is being in wherever we are and just letting go of all judgment. That's the busy mind. and allowing and accepting everything to be exactly as it is. Allow your awareness to expand to take in sound now. That is deep listening. That is listening to everything that is in your space right now and not rejecting any of it, not judging any of it, not pushing any of it away. Simply listening deeply to all levels of sound. So you're listening to the sound of my voice. You're hearing my words. And you're hearing the space and the silence in between my words. I'm listening to the little bit of music that's playing in the background. Listening to the sounds in your own room, whatever they may be. Allow your awareness to expand to just listen to all levels of sound now. When the mind takes off in other directions, which it will, or it starts judging the sounds, like, I wish that wasn't there, and I wished it was more quiet, or I don't like that sound, or that sound is lovely, but that sounds not. All the mind's judgments, just notice them and come back to the breath and come back to listening and practicing non-judgment awareness. Just practicing allowing everything to be exactly as it is. That's right. Just allowing and accepting everything to be as it is. And practicing being awareness, just notice all feelings right now in the body. That could be physical feelings, emotional feelings, sensations in the body. Resisting a temptation to judge any feeling as good or bad. That's right. Just experience what you're feeling. Deep presence. Experiencing what is there in the body, in the feelings, emotional and physical. That's right. And when the mind starts to wander, just bring it back to the breath. Feel the breath moving in and out of the nostrils. Aware of the feelings in the body, aware of sounds, and allowing everything to be exactly as it is. And just notice being, perspective. Notice the sense of sufficiency. That means just having and being everything that is needed, complete, right here. Nothing missing, no judgment. Deficiency is judgment. That's right. Notice how all parts of your experience are welcomed. That's right. All parts are welcomed when we're not judging. So connect to the breath. That's right. It's only the mind that judges. Just allowing everything to be exactly as it is.
Battery, hi. Connected to iPhone 2.
Yeah, that's right. Allowing everything to be as it is. Now, I invite you to use your imagination now to move upward, like we're going to move upstairs, imagining like you are this great, big, fantastic castle, and that you can take this gorgeous elevator up to the top. So imagine that is an elevator right in front of you now. And it's a beautiful golden elevator. And I want you just to go ahead and step inside that elevator. That's right. And watch the doors close behind you and look up and see the numbers that move up as you go upstairs. And feel the elevator now start to move up. And as you move up this elevator, just allow your eyes to gently just keep looking up. Your eyeballs even roll upward in your head because you're looking up at those numbers. 1, 2, 3, going higher and higher. 4, going higher, just letting go of everything, feeling lighter and lighter, going higher and higher. 5, 6. When we get to 10, we're going to be at the top of this castle and to be so connected with your viewpoint, your higher self, moving up, up, up. 7, 8, 9, and 10. And allowing the doors to open wide as you walk out and becoming full aware that you are really in a higher place. Feel the light all around you as you step out of this elevator. And from this place up in the highest floor of your beautiful castle, you're able to just look around the castle. And you're able to see all the different parts or rooms that you have closed. And from this higher perspective, you're able to open them up. You're able to let go of the deficiency and open up to complete sufficiency. So look around and see all the rooms that you have closed because you thought it made you feel safe. Maybe the way that you show your personality, you closed it down, or maybe ways that you keep yourself alone, you close that down, or ways that you don't quite show up in work, you close it down. Just whatever it is, your own mind knows what that is. Just listen to yourself for a moment and just see if any insights come to you. To open up some of these rooms, to open up to be more of who you really are, to accept yourself at a deeper level. Take the key and unlock those doors. All the ways that you have made yourself deficient in any way whatsoever. We want to open up this programming of sufficiency. So open up the rooms that allow you to be more than enough, to be safe enough, to be attractive enough, to be rich enough, to have plenty, have all that you need, have all the safety that you need, all the protection that you need, all the happiness you need, all the physical supply you need, money, food, everything for your security. Everything is there. Open up all the rooms. Open up all the parts of you to allow yourself to show up, to stand out, to experience people, places, things. Just listening to your own subconscious mind reveal to you any rooms that are ready now to open. That's right. And if you're not sure, just take a key in your hand and go around and unlock doors. And just tell yourself, I'm unlocking the doors, allow them to be more and more open, and show to me and prove to me that I am more sufficient than ever before, that all my needs are met, that my higher self is providing supply, support, abundance, security, safety, everything that is needed. Take that key and start unlocking the rooms. Open those rooms up. That's right. Open those rooms. Just knowing that all parts of you are working together to make sure that you're not only safe, but you're supported in every way, that you have wisdom, great wisdom, that you can unlock those doors and you're still going to be safe and you're going to be fine and good things are happening because you're learning to be present, total self-acceptance, total acceptance of others as well, that you can still be safe and use wisdom in all ways. That's right. And as you look down from this high perspective up there on the 10th floor, looking at your whole castle, looking at all those rooms, seeing all those rooms that you have unlocked, look down on it and see the doors open and see the light shining through those doors and feel the light shining up to where you are and just feel the deep happiness that is there that comes with opening those doors, revealing those rooms, integrating them into every cell of your body, integrating that acceptance, that all parts of your unconscious mind are working together to create a repetition of perception. All parts of you are working together to create a repetition of perception. So right now, anchor yourself in a perception that you want to have again and again, a perception where you personally feel abundant and loved and safe. Do what it is you need to do to remember the perception that you are abundant and safe, loved, that you can have the repetition of that perception over and over so that your outer world can mirror that. That's right. So knowing this and feeling this, I want you just to go ahead now and step back into that elevator and see the doors close. And as you're going to go back to the first floor, as you go back to the first floor, you're going to start integrating this into every level of the unconscious mind, integrating so that you bring it back into your life, integrating this safety and the love, opening up those doors, moving down now to 9 and to 8 and 7. As you're going back down, 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 you're integrating into all parts of the unconscious mind, integrating this perception of beingness, integrating this perception of awareness, of complete safety and sufficiency, abundance, supply, support, love, integrating, going down, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now integrating as those doors open and you walk out of that elevator, bringing all of this back with you, feeling awake and alert and alive and full of light and awareness. The ability to be present, the ability to be in non-judgment awareness, the ability to be in not the deficiency perspective, but the sufficiency perspective, that you're able to have this repetition of perception again and again. And I know as you go through your week that this perception continues to be coming, that you practice this perception again and again and again so that you can experience it internally, integrated, and experience it looking out of those eyes, see it mirrored in your life, sufficiency, support, supply, abundance, joy, love, and all those things. That's right. So beginning now to wind up, to come back to the room as your eyes open again, feeling the alert, awake, aliveness, coming back. As you're starting to come back, I want to thank you for being here and listening live. I know we have a lot of people that listen to the podcast now and the YouTube, but it's so much fun to see your faces on our live program. And I want to thank our members and our donors, people that are giving donations. I want to thank you. This is run completely by donations. And thank you, Craig. He put a link, PayPal link in the chat. You can click on it and at least open something in your browser. You can go back to it later if you want, or it goes out in the email or the website, and we thank you. And it's a good exchange. It's good. I want to give good quality content, and your subconscious integrates it when there is an exchange. So I want to thank you and thank the people that are already supporting this program, that it makes it possible just to have something that you can count on Sunday morning where you can just be right at home and listen. So I appreciate your support of that. All right, I'm going to go ahead and